Welcome back to this special edition of the Riz Khan Show, coming to you from Ramallah and Tel Aviv. Of course, a very hot debate, and we've so many issues to touch on, but let's get back to where we were. And Samar, you wanted to add in the mix of what's being said here.
Yes. First of all, I want to talk about the catastrophe as an expression. Every year, the Palestinian people commemorate the Nakba, or the catastrophe of our ancestors, the dispossession of hundreds or thousands of people who kicked from our homes and our villages there. But today, I think we are suffering and living with a new catastrophe in Gaza Strip. The situation in the Gaza Strip is very fragile and extremely fragile. Now, the Gaza Strip living in darkness, without the crossings is closed.
And this is where your family is, and you can't see them.
Yes. Yes, when I talk about my family, I talk about all people in Gaza Strip. Right. But before, last night, my mother called me, and I told her I will be online in the TV. So she told me I will see you on TV. But suddenly she called me and told me no electricity for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks later, so she will not be able to see me on the TV.
Right. I wanted to get to Moshe and ask again. You've been listening to what's been going on. A lot of people say it's the leaders who are at odds here between the Israelis and Palestinians. But listening to a lot of the debate that's going on today, it sounds like even for the younger generations, yourselves, the divisions are very heavily entrenched.
Well, yes, Riz, I think that, our leaders represent basically the Israeli position, which is Israel is willing and was always willing to live alongside a Palestinian state. From 1937, from the Peel Commission, and through 47 and 67, after Israel captured the West Bank and Gaza in a defensive war, they were willing to make peace with the Arabs. Of course, the Arabs said that they were unwilling. The famous three no's after 1967: no recognition of Israel, no talking to Israel, and up through the 2000 Camp David Accords, when Israel again said, we are willing to live in peace with the Palestinians, with the Palestinian state alongside of us. And that's what our leaders have been saying, and that's what we've been saying. On the other hand, from the other side, what we hear coming out today from the West Bank, and especially from the Gaza Strip, is that we will not recognize Israel. And instead of any kind of recognition of Israel, we get Qassam rockets shot at that specifically target civilians. I think there's been a lot of confusion. The people at the panel in Ramallah talks about the Israeli oppression, how we're in the Israeli army and helicopters and whatever. Those security provisions do not target civilians. Our aim is not to target civilians. We are aiming only to protect ourselves by hitting the people that are shooting rockets at us, and by arresting the people that are sending suicide bombers. On the other hand, the Palestinians, it is their intention to kill civilians. Okay. And there's absolutely no comparison between the two.
Moshe, I know everyone's got their hands up on this side in Ramallah, but Khalid, you were next.
Okay, actually, I thank the Israeli panelists because they've really displayed to the audience what Israeli propaganda looks like. To the claim that Moshe made, the first ever peace agreement was proposed in 1976 by the Arab state with tactical support of the PLO to the United Nations Security Council. It was rejected and vetoed by the United States and rejected by Israel. From 1976 till now, all the peace agreements have been proposed by the Arab states, and they've been vetoed. So let's stick to the facts as opposed to the fiction. Now, there's a wide misconception that Israel is a democracy, and this arises from the refusal to confront the significance of the term a Jewish state for non-Jews. Israel does not have a constitution like modern democracies. It has a series of basic laws that blatantly discriminate against the non-Jewish citizens of Israel. Now, Moshe, you were able to do Aliyah to Israel. Now, this is a racist law that only allows Jews to return to Israel and does not allow any other citizens.
Yeah, Moshe, reply quickly.
The basic laws of Israel, as you may or may not know, give freedom of movement and of expression and of occupation to any person, whether they are Jewish or not Jewish. When we speak, there are no discriminatory laws in Israel whatsoever. Okay. My family was able to make Aliyah, as you say, because Israel as a Jewish state we see it as the homeland for Jews, and therefore we can move to Israel.
Listen,
I have absolutely no problem if Palestinians all over the world can come and move into the Palestinian state. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Moshe, wait, now I'm going to get a quick response from Amal before I go to Omar.
I think what people need to understand is that Israel is an occupying force. Israel are the occupiers, and the Palestinians are occupied. And if you are going to justify everything, Moshe, by saying that, you know, Israelis or denying or living in La La Land that the Israelis don't kill Palestinian civilians or so on and so forth, and you want to shut your eyes about that, that's fine. And if you want to justify things in the name of security, I'm going to justify everything that the Palestinians are doing in the name of their own freedom.
Okay, Omar in Tel Aviv.
Killing innocent people?
Yeah.
Do you justify killing innocent people, sending your children
do you
with
justify
bombs,
what is happening
young
in
children
Gaza?
to kill civilians?
Do you justify?
Okay,
Nothing
guys,
can
let's have a little
nothing
order.
can
Let's have a little order
justify
here.
violence.
Let's have a little order here. And Omar, actually, it was your turn to respond, please.
Yeah. I think we can, all of us here in Herzliya, in Israel, and over there in Ramallah, everybody can notice there's a certain way we're going, and it's not leading anywhere because my esteemed colleagues, my Palestinian esteemed colleagues, are saying their side of the story, and we're trying to say ours or see it our way, and that's not a way for peace. Peace. We've already negotiated 2 peace agreements which work beautifully today, and they weren't that difficult to come.
Okay.
79 and afterwards in Jordan, and for some reason there's a big gap that we're not able to pass, and we keep on throwing questions to each other.
Okay, listen, we've got about a minute and a half. We've got about a minute and a half.
But I've got one question.
Okay.
I've got one question for the Palestinians. I would like to know if they support terrorism and shooting rockets at Israel, at civilians in Israel. Okay. Terrorism. What I mean by terrorism is attacking civilians, not army,
right.
not
because we have about a minute left. Let me get a response from Shada to your question.
I have to tell you that everyone killed by Israel is a civilian. No, because our soldiers, or what we call soldiers, we don't have tanks, we don't have helicopters, we don't have an army. They only have small guns to protect the president. The people that are being killed are all civilians. They are mostly children.
Shada, what is the limit to what is permissible? Firing rockets, for example, is that permissible?
To answer him, do you find okay that Israel bombs and Israeli soldiers kill Palestinians every day? Hundreds of Palestinians every day die. Do you find that acceptable?
Yeah, but the answer to you is for you to come and become a Palestinian for one day. Then maybe this is the only way that you can actually. This is the only answer to your question.
Bear with me, guys. Ruby, you got your hand up. Please get a response.
Not an answer.
Yeah. I would like to ask the Palestinian panel. We've seen that Israel pulled out of the Gaza Strip, and they rule themselves. There may be a siege on Gaza, and I'm not going to argue that point. But the question is, do you, the Palestinian side, think that you have the maturity and the capability of really self-sovereign and being able to come to a table of negotiations and discuss the future and wanting to shape the future, not being a bunch of gangs or corrupt politicians? You guys are the young generation. How come we don't see you on the streets? You have politicians that aren't doing their job, and we see horrible results.
Okay, listen, what I'm going to do is we literally have time for one last answer on this side, just in the interest of balance. Mohammed, as you answer this, I know you've had your hand up. Mohammed, give me a suggestion on how things might change positively.
Oh, let me just get back to answer Omar's question because he wants an answer. Okay. Omar, I don't condone terrorism.
Thank you.
As you define it, attacking civilians, okay? But throughout history, we found that Israeli generals have openly admitted to attacking civilians. We've had Moshe Dayan gloat about the massacre at Deir Yassin. We've had Israel Zevin, who openly said that in 2004 the Israeli army was attacking civilians in Jabalia. Okay? So the Israeli army is in that way conducting state terrorism. Okay? Terrorism isn't only focused on us. Now, as for your question, which is how things can change when people start accepting historical truths. Now, my colleagues in Tel Aviv have been saying that the problem here is they've been presenting their view and we're presenting our view and things are different. Well, how about we refer to a non-subjective resource, which is international law, International law is very clear when it states that the Palestinians have a right to return to their homeland, and the Palestinians are under occupation, including in Gaza, despite what Israel tries to tell the world about pulling out. It still occupies Gaza, it still occupies the West Bank. And I think it was Omar or Rud who said that Israel has negotiated 2 peace settlements with Egypt and Jordan. Well, yeah, it did, and they've been successful because Israel pulled out of that land. Pull out of the West Bank, dismantle the settlements, leave Gaza alone, and see if you get peace or not.
Ladies and gents, I mean, there's so much. Well, Moshe, I'm afraid we've run out of time. We're completely out of time here, and we're stuck. This is one of those difficult situations where there's so much to discuss, and everyone's got their hands up. But I really want to thank you both sides, Tel Aviv and Ramallah, for joining in this debate. I wish we could carry it on a bit longer. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, the constraints of television. I want to thank you, our viewers, for being with us, and we continue to explore the issues that face these two peoples all of this week. On the next show, we look at the Palestinian right of return. Should the Palestinians who fled or were forced out of their homes when Israel was created in 1948 be allowed to come back? Be sure to tune in with your comments and questions. Don't forget, if you have any, just send an email to riz@aljazeera.net. We'll see you next time.